Famous Dave, famous Dave, famous Dave, famous Dave, famous Dave.
All right, I have to stop that because that music is actually copyrighted and I don't want the federales after me right away. Welcome back once again to the Short Vol Show Live. My name is David Lincoln and you're joining me on a Friday morning. And right now I have BYND, Beyond Meat, a company that makes meat substitutes that I've been trading for a while. And I have a short on this this issue. My short being I am short out of the money calls. That is my sum total of my position is I'm short out of the money calls. If we pull up the chart here, it has been going against me the last couple days. Here's the chart. It looks very bullish here. And the question is kind of like, how do you do I give up on this? I covered about half of my short yesterday. And I really feel this company now valued at, I think, $1.7 billion, almost $2 billion. Negative earnings. Obviously, companies with negative earnings have had high values before. Look at Amazon. They expand, and there's value because people know that the company will have positive earnings. Beyond Meat does have a product that they make. It's not just a fly-by-night biotech firm that has some great ideas, but it's dumping tons of money into R&D. No, they have a product. It's a legit product, and they are expanding into several different markets. However, the valuation, this IPO'd at, I believe, $45 a few months back in, I believe, May, and it's 6 times the value it IPO'd at. So beyond everyone's expectations, and I just see this as, there has to be at some point where it is fairly valued, right? It can't go up forever, and I just feel that the psychology behind people buying a stock has to catch up at some point, and people that bought it for higher prices who have been waiting for it to get back up there so they can sell it are coming out or will be sellers also. It will be at a certain point where more shares become available to be sold. Obviously, a company that has a valuation that's way higher than they thought it would be are going to find ways to tap into that value, and that would mean either taking loans against the company, selling shares. Obviously, the people who had shares in the IPO that can't sell them yet are going to be trying to short this in any way they possibly can to take the value out of the shares they own, because there's no value in having shares that are worth a lot of money if you can't get some of the money out of that. So there's a number of reasons of why I feel that this is a good short, but the question is, how long do I hang on here? Now, I am short out of the money calls. The calls are at strike prices higher than the all-time high of 202, and I was pretty successful with a short initially here. If we look at the chart, this area here where it got up to 186, I believe, and then went down $39 in one day. I was short for that period, which was successful. And then after this 202, I was short again for this down move here. And then I sort of initiated this other short with the stock around 150, and it has gone against ever since. And the question is how much money am I willing to lose here to ultimately, eventually, possibly be right? And I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, but definitely bid up again today. It was flirting with I covered about half of my short around the 164 level or 163 yesterday, and we're up $4 from there as we come into we're well ahead of the open today, and things were higher ahead of the open yesterday and then pulled back. But it just seems like several days of rally here in a row, and I really feel that this is going to, the excitement is going to die down, and that, we had this big move up and then not as much, and I really feel like we're going to have lower highs and lower lows at some point here. We've gotten like a lower high, but the trend still seems to be up here, and so I'm not willing to lose money forever on this thing. So we're gonna have to see what happens, but definitely watching a trade go against me here, and I think I hope it's interesting for people to see somebody risking money and seeing what happens when it either goes for them or goes against them. I hope I'm not too much of a bragger when things go my way, and I'm certainly showing when things go against me as well. Like right now, things are going against me, and it's not always fun, but the premises that I'm short based on are, I think the fundamentals are still there for this to go lower, but it's not working right now, and at a certain point of it not working, I will bail out because I'm not in the business of losing money. Anyway, so that's what's going on with BYND right now. In the meantime, I've been catching up on I like going back and watching old TV shows. I've been watching The Wire, that show. I don't know if you've seen The Wire before, but I've been watching The Wire to try to distract me. But yeah, this is definitely making another move to the upside here. And I think there are a lot of people that are short this, and they're being forced to cover makes it move higher, I believe. But we'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens. General market just kind of hanging out here. If we do take a look at the VIX and volatility, let's pull up VIX Central right now. The VIX not doing a whole lot. We did have a rally yesterday, and so VIX was down a little bit. Contango starting to build again. If you notice, there's not much room between spot and the M1 futures right now. Let's take a look at VIX Central here, and let me get out of the way. But the roll yield, or the difference between spot and the M1 future, is only a mere 20 cents right now, which is very tight. Although contango, that number 5.4% contango, is ultimately where stuff is rebalancing at and is going to be ultimately more important in the long run. However, in the short run, there's not a lot of potential here. Vol has stayed kind of firm lately. When I see the roll yield so tight here, first of all, when we're looking at roll yield, we need to look at how many days are left till expiration. So one of the easiest ways to do that, to figure that out, is to go to the ProShares website and look at the futures, and we can see the next futures expire on July 17th. So we're very far from expiration. So it is kind of note that the roll yield is so tight here, and so we'll have to see what goes on from here. I would suspect that this indicates that vol has been a little bit elevated lately, and that all things being equal, it should back off by a little bit, and sort of ultimately what would happen for this to normalize would be that the VIX would go down like a point, and everything else would kind of stay pretty much in the same orbit as far as the term structure goes. But the term structure in a very normal state, just the distance between the spot and M1 very tight at this particular moment. Contango over 5% is, though, very positive for us shorts, and particular trades that I've been looking at as far as the VIX. I've been looking more at VXX lately because I'm frustrated by the lack of liquidity in UVXY lately. But in VXX, I've been looking at the September 27-25 put spread. So you've got buy the September 27 put, sell the 25 put. For $1.25, you can get into this and have a nice return by September with this thing rolling down through the 25 strike, looking like that could be a very reasonable strike to roll through by September in 84 days. So looking at some spreads in there. But in the meantime, I'm just been focused on this BYND position, which has been going against me once again. And here we go. And, I was doing the interview with the Thompson brothers the other day, and, look at this going straight up. Now, that kind of action going straight up like that feels like a squeeze. It feels like people are short and like panicking to cover. And as long as we have a ton of people shorting this, we're going to continue to see this like squeeze type action. And I think that a lot of people that are long this are just going on this ride because they feel like it's going to keep making these big moves up. But there is a limit to this, and the valuation. There's been a ton of good news in this stock. Everything seems so bright, and there has to be a limit to this. I don't feel like we're going to take out the 200 level again. I feel like people got stuffed on the way down on this down move here, and a lot of those people are going to be looking to take their profits. I mean, if you are long this, where do you want to get out? If we were to survey everybody who is long this, what would they say as where do you want to sell? I think probably if you interviewed a lot of people, they'd say, I'll get out at 180, make a nice profit and get out at 180. I think there's a lot of resistance once we get up in this level here. And the more times that we kind of go down and sideways and don't get towards the all-time high again, the harder it is going to be to get there. And this is definitely like a squeeze type move here. Look at this, as they'd say, parabolic move up here on the open. That definitely looks to being squeezed. We'll have to see what happens on the open here. But once again, I feel like it is compelling YouTube video to actually be a trader and to be showing you me getting hurt here, taking heat on a short, because I feel like most people who are creating media in the trading world have to try to be showing people that they are right all the time, because their business model is they're selling you some sort of class or teaching lessons, this kind of thing, and the person who is out front of the company has to be kind of the figurehead, the trader who's always right type thing. And I'm here to tell you, nobody is always right. And the guys that are doing that, they're showing you the times they were right, and they're not showing you the times they were wrong. I'm here to show you in the real world, people are wrong all the time. Traders are wrong all the time. And even like Warren Buffett had down not just days, weeks, but years. So here's me taking heat. Kind of imagine what would you do in this situation? I'm short the 215s and the 210 strike. I don't think this thing's ever going to get back to 200 again, but I could be wrong. And when do I throw in the towel and say I'm wrong? Because it seems pretty obvious to me. If I buy this paying 168, or if I cover my calls right here, this thing's going to go right back to 100 in the next week, right? So the key is to be small enough that I can weather the storm here and wait it out. Because as long as this doesn't go over, as long as this isn't over 200 on expiration, I'm a winner selling these calls. So here we are, moving parabolic, and the question is, do I have a plan? What's the plan? I do have a plan. I'm happy that I covered half my position today around this 164 area, because I can always jump back in again if it starts to rip down. But right now, just cruising straight up here. Let's see how many shares have traded so far today. And hold on, let's see. Analyze. 52,000 shares have traded today. So this is on like zero volume. However, there is not somebody coming in and saying, I'm willing to sell a lot here. That's why it's moving higher. So even though it's low volume, it still means something that it's rallying like this before the open. So huge rip up here, BYND. Maybe non-meat is like the thing of the future. And maybe this company has something that nobody else does. But I don't think it does, and I think this is going to fade. But we'll have to see. But definitely the fact that this has gone so straight up is encouraging to me that it's unsustainable. But we'll have to see what happens on the open. This is David Lincoln talking to you, taking heat here on Cape Cod on BYND short. And I hope you have a great trading day. Thanks for all the support. I hope you checked out that last interview with the Thompson brothers. I think that's really cool. I am releasing my Kirk Duplessis from Option Alpha interview coming up soon. Look forward to that, and I will see you probably tomorrow with more video updates. Thanks for watching.